Hello and welcome to A Slice of Pie, the semi-weekly Newsish show that we do on this channel. How is everybody doing today? I hope you guys are all staying safe in light of the current situation going on in the world. It has affected our production flow quite a bit on this channel, and it's making it kind of difficult to produce video content because our entire channel revolves around us getting our hands on things and like playing with tech and doing stuff. And essentially with Florida going on full lockdown, pretty much I'm going to be still going to work as my job is considered essential. But other than that, I'm really not going to be able to do too much. But I would like to say that we are actually still going to be able to put at least something out next week. We're not going to miss another week. I did get a hold of some of the stuff that I wanted to get a hold of to actually make a video following up the video that we did where we took apart all that stuff. Essentially, we're going to be testing external hard drive enclosures and like how it might be. I actually don't know. It might be better to buy a cheap SSD, an SSD external enclosure, than to buy an actual SSD external drive. I still gotta film the last few scenes of the making a game video, and I think I'll probably try to get that done next week as well. Again, we're kind of on lockdown, so I'm gonna have to get a little creative, but I've been creative so far when it came to that one, so we'll see what happens with that. So that pretty much covers everything that we're working on the channel right now. There's more in the works technically. Like I kind of want to do some game reviews because I'm running out of tech that I can work with, unfortunately. And I don't see any signs of this letting up anytime soon. And then of course, as long as things are being delivered, we have an upgrade video on Nova that will be happening and stuff like that. Things are happening. Its problem is it's just gonna be much slower than expected right now. Now that we got that stuff out of the way though, let's talk about the tech and gaming news because we've had an interesting 2 weeks, even though there was April Fool's Day in between there. Let's kind of actually start with that. April Fool's Day, really nothing happened, like no pranks at all. There were like a couple that actually tried to get into the spirit. Like Imgur had a banana for scale thing that went up for only a portion of the day because unfortunately like they turned it off as it got real inappropriate real fast. AMD is currently not content to let Intel win any battles at this moment, as they are currently kicking their butt when it comes to mobile processors of all things. That's right, AMD has finally made a splash in the laptop scene, and the splash that they made is actually pretty impressive. Unanimously amongst the tech community, this is a big thing, and it's coming in at a price that is so much more competitive than Intel, it's not even funny. My Razer Blade Pro cost roughly $2,000 to run an i7, and I think it was a 1070, it wasn't even a 1080 at the time. I could get a similarly spec'd Ryzen system for around $1,200. But Intel is not content to let AMD take the throne just yet, as they also have an unreleased processor that they've kind of leaked a little bit into the wild. This is an 8-core, 16-thread processor running at, I think it's 5.3 gigahertz. Insanely high clock speeds for a laptop processor. And I do have a feeling that we've actually seen it. In fact, Linus Tech Tips did a video with a new Zephyrus dual screen setup that had a mysterious Intel processor that they couldn't benchmark. And I believe that that is probably the one that we've seen rumors of. Now we got a follow-up story on something that we talked about earlier. The O11 Dynamic Clone by Main Gear that we talked about actually has an interesting feature. You see, I thought it was just a one-to-one clone, but no, it actually has a gimmick in it. And it's a gimmick that Fantex has been pushing for quite a while. You can install a second PC in your PC. Now, you may be wondering, how do you fit this second PC in this PC? Well, the answer is on the back where you would have 3.5-inch hard drives, they've decided to put spots for another mini ITX motherboard. This is weird because if you look at the diagram, it actually appears that you're going to be screwing your ATX motherboard and your micro ATX or mini ITX motherboard, sorry, to the same plate. And there's not enough room for a full PCIe GPU. You have to use small form factor things, and although small form factor GPUs exist, what they have shown in the picture is a capture card. So this could be an interesting case if you're trying to make an all-in-one capture PC plus gameplay PC. But there is a small problem with that, and that is the fact that putting that PC there kills the amount of drive space you have. And if you have a recording PC, you want it to actually have a lot of drive space, as you need places to offload footage. Now, of course, there is an argument to be made over network storage, but if you are really trying to save that space, you're most likely not professional yet. You're just getting started, and you're honestly, it's kind of pointless. It's a dumb feature in a cheap case to make it different than the more expensive case that it's copying. Let's talk about something that was all over YouTube for a little while, and then I kind of like took a step back and was like, let's find out more about this. So there was actually a data breach where a hacker supposedly stole a bunch of AMD IP. Well, what the hacker stole is not really worth very much. In fact, they only stole a little bit of code that pertained to a little bit of how to make a GPU, meaning they really didn't steal enough to make a GPU from scratch using AMD's IP. Instead, they got like a little tiny bit of it, and they're trying to sell it on the black market. Essentially, it's not really that big of a deal because apparently, this is coming from AMD, none of it contains source code that can be used to hack into AMD-based GPUs, and doesn't have any real vulnerabilities according to them. So let's hope that there's not enough vulnerability in a couple of months for that, but at least they're not freaking out about it, and they're not really pursuing this guy like crazy. So I think they're probably telling the truth that this is probably just nothing. Nintendo held a surprise Nintendo Direct. It was out of nowhere, and it was a Nintendo Direct Mini. Honestly, it was pretty interesting. We got an update on Xenoblade Definitive Edition, which looks good, and I will play it, and unfortunately I will spend hours and hours and hours playing it, much like I played the second one and even the third one, even though the third one is the one that's called 2. Personally, I really want Xenoblade X to be remade on the Switch because I loved that game, and really just plugging in my Wii U is a pain in the butt. Digressing a little bit, it looks good. It honestly has some really cool features, like the DLC can actually be accessed, the special DLC that they created for this can be accessed before beating the game, which is awesome, meaning you don't actually have to go through the whole story to get to it. But it is still gonna be late game because it's like up on the shoulder, if I remember correctly, which is like really, it's not gonna be easy to get to, essentially. Borderlands 1, 2, Handsome Jack, Bioshock 1, 2, and Infinite, and XCOM 1 and 2 are all coming to the Switch. That's a bunch of games from 2K all coming into the Switch. There was this cool little like 2K Loves the Nintendo Switch trailer. We've been hearing about Borderlands on the Switch since the Switch came out, which is actually kind of interesting. I'm excited for it because that's the kind of game that I would love to play on my Switch, because it's like really long and kind of grindy, and I just played through the first game again, and it's actually better than I remember. Like, it holds up really well. There's an interesting rumor going around, and I'm surprised nobody has said April Fools yet. Allegedly, for Mario's 35th anniversary, they are going to be remastering a bunch of 3D Mario platformers. Honestly, if this is the case, I'm excited. I really want to play Sunshine on a newer platform with newer hardware. I don't know how far they are planning to go, but if they are planning to do that, absolutely, I would love it. Sunshine, 64, either one. I would love to play either one with new hardware and essentially new graphics. If they did it with like the Mario Odyssey art style, yes, I would love it. Supposedly also there is a Paper Mario game done in the original style, also unannounced and coming. We'll see in June how true any of these are, but honestly, if any of this is true, I'd dig it. It'd be kind of awesome. Bitspower has made a distro plate for the NZXT H510, which is kind of awesome because that's based off the H500. It's the updated version of it, and that case is awesome. I love it, and the new distro plate looks pretty good. I can't figure out where they're putting it though, unfortunately, because they don't have a single picture of it in the case, but love that. I really like distro plates, and I can't wait to kind of tell you guys more about them once I'm done upgrading this computer so I can get my final thoughts on it done. But digressing, distro plate for an awesome case, absolutely. Half-Life Alyx is out now, and it looks like this is the game to get if you have a VR headset. It has become the killer app that was necessary to push VR, because I know I personally want a VR headset now. I've kind of wanted it since Beat Saber, but now I really want it because it's like, it looks good. And from what I've heard, it is good. So Half-Life Alyx is out and making a compelling reason for you to get a VR headset for PC. AMD users, rejoice a little bit. From what I can tell, at least on my PC, hardware acceleration is fixed with only a minor weird bug where it adds a small green line to the bottom of my YouTube videos. This is weird, but it's also like the least problematic problem that I've had with the driver so far. I was able to open up Wallpaper Engine, which is running behind me, without it crashing at all. And essentially it sounds like for now these drivers are working, and I know that there's a percentage of people who are still having problems, and as I'm reading through their problems, it seems that a lot of them are temperature related. I really do think that these GPUs were built with a pretty significant temperature problem, and the fact that I'm not experiencing any of these issues is probably due to the fact that this is on water. Like, this is a water-cooled PC. I love it. But at the same time, I acknowledge that I have removed an entire variable that a lot of people are still having problems with. So if you are still having problems and you are running a Strix or a TUF-based AMD Navi GPU, reach out to Asus, download any tool to monitor your temperatures, check your VRM temperatures, check your hotspots, your memory temperatures. Any one of these can cause issues. And then finally, ESO is gearing up to release Greymoor in May for PC, and it comes out in June for the rest of you guys. But because it comes out in May for PC, the prequest is actually already loaded into the game, and you can play it for free without having the DLC. Now, I already did buy the DLC because, well, I love my ESO and I've played way too much of it already. So yeah, it looks good though. We're actually gonna get a very different Skyrim than the one that we played in The Elder Scrolls V. We're getting a much darker Skyrim, and I am okay with that. We've got werewolves and vampires. There's this weird banshee thing in the trailer. It looks so cool. Like, this is a really interesting DLC for ESO, because so far it's been like, here's Morrowind again, here's the Somerset Isles, and it's filled with Daedra and Sea Slodes, which are like from deep Elder Scrolls lore, by the way, and I'm surprised they pulled that. Here's the homeland of the Khajiit and dragons, and then they come back to Skyrim and you're expecting, okay, so we got dragons, we got Skyrim, we're going back, you know, pretty much to this thing. And they're like, no. You remember the thing with the vampires? Yeah, we're gonna make that the whole main game, and you're gonna have to deal with some dark stuff going on. And I'm like, yes. Already, yes. So I'm just excited for that, and yeah, I probably already have access to it, and I'm saving it. I'm saving myself instead of playing it in the PTR. I'm going to wait because I am more excited for this one than I was for Elsewhere. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, you can leave a like, comment, subscribe. I do videos like this at least once every 2 weeks. This one is specifically my semi-weekly Newsish show. So yeah, it's done every other week. So thank you guys again. Wolfie out.